well as Russia and Putin will be meeting on 15th of August. That's one of the big news that we have been tracking, and yes, of course, the markets will be looking out for that closely. But along with that, amid the strained ties with Washington over the Indian oil imports from Russia, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke with the Russian President Putin last evening, where the leaders discussed Ukraine, reviewed the bilateral progress, as well as pledged to deepen the special and privileged partnership. Now, Modi will host Putin in India later this year, and the call was followed by NSA Ajit Doval's Kremlin visit and came days after Russia backed India's right to choose its trading partners, criticizing US President Donald Trump's doubling of tariffs on Indian goods. And the Kremlin also confirmed a likely Putin-Trump meeting in Alaska next week to discuss the Ukraine peace prospects. Now, Prime Minister Modi reiterated India's call for a peaceful resolution. But the call between the two leaders that took place as NSA Ajit Doval met Russia's first deputy PM after talks with Putin, and the discussions covered defense, military tech cooperation, joint prospects in civil aviation and chemicals, reaffirming the India-Russia strategic partnership. Let me take it across to my colleague Sumita, who joins in to explain what these calls in the meeting mean for the ties between the two long-term allies. Sumita.
A lot of geopolitical action is currently underway. It's currently happening. And of course, like you rightly stated, that President Putin held a phone call with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And of course, we are seeing this visit of India's NSA Ajit Doval to Russia. And after holding a meeting with President Putin, the NSA has held meetings with the Deputy Prime Minister of Russia, Denis Manturov. And of course, both the sides are focused on expanding cooperation ties and of course on military technical ties. That was the focus of that meeting. Other than that, the Russian embassy says in a post, and I quote, on what was discussed, well, other strategic sectors that include civil aircraft manufacturing, metallurgy and chemical industry, joint implementation of projects in these sectors was essentially discussed. So these developments are coming in at a very significant time. When the NSA met with President Putin just a day before he met with Denis Manturov, both sides said that they will continue their cooperation in current trading areas and otherwise as well without any external pressure. And you do know that this is coming in at a time when Donald Trump has been exerting pressure on India for its energy trade with Russia. There's been an implementation of over 50% of tariffs, which is essentially doubled from the earlier 25%. Other than that, there are other developments that are also happening, which essentially points to the fact that the BRICS bloc of countries, this is essentially Brazil, Russia, China, India, they are strengthening and they are almost hitting out at Donald Trump's tariff imposition, which China multiple times has called that this is unilateral bullying. But what's interesting is the fact that the Chinese leadership, the Chinese representatives have actually called this unilateral bullying. They have called out United States unilateral bullying in context of India as well. So that's an important, statement that's coming in from the Chinese side, given the fact that the Prime Minister is expected to hold bilateral talks with Chinese Premier and Russian President Vladimir Putin at the SCO summit later this month. Other than that, we also did hear from Brazil's President Lula da Silva, who's hit out at Donald Trump, and he's in fact stated that instead of talking to Donald Trump, he would talk to Prime Minister Modi, and he did actually in fact had a call with Prime Minister Modi and talked about these unilateral tariffs, which he said are impacting both Brazil and India.
Okay, Samita, thanks for bringing us all of those updates. And of course, we'll be keeping you up to speed with everything that happens on this front as well. But let's refocus to the markets back home. And we've consecutively